Welcome to this week's episode 4 of our Nature Table Live, and I'm joined this week. I think we have some of the usual guests. Barry, you out there? Dr. Barry Yates.
Hello, Michael.
Hey, Barry, how are you? All right? How's things? A good week?
Yeah, very good week. Yeah.
Where's this vaccine, Barry? When's that going to turn up? You're a doctor.
It's round the corner. I've been told it's just around the corner.
We're almost there. We're almost there. Now we've got Charlotte back. Charlotte, are you here?
Hello, I'm here.
Hi, Charlotte. All right, you missed all the fun last week, Charlotte. It was a bit of it was about an hour long last week. It was.
No, I was there. I was watching.
You were watching it, yeah, watching it.
Very good.
We brought Jess back out of retirement. She into a WildCall role, but she was okay, not as good as you. Was the general opinion from the public. She wasn't as good as you in the WildCall job. So. We have to get you back, so thank you for coming back this week. And James, are you still there?
Evening, Michael. I'm here.
James, all right? How are you? All right. So,
yeah.
Where's your background this week, James? Where are you this week?
I'm at Woods Mill actually this week.
Oh yeah, I recognise those trees. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I thought I'd go back to the headquarters, back to our roots.
You had a good week, James?
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, not too bad. Yourself?
I've had a miserable week, just in case anyone's interested. It's been really long. It's still just it's been endless this week, but. And what about you folks at home? Now, if I this is the interactive part of the show. Look, if I can now ask you, is this right? We do this. How are you this week? There's some options there for how you are this week. It's nice to know how you've been getting on. There's a few people there thinking about moving to the Isle of Wight. That's probably a good decision. Some people have been waiting all week to see what's in the brown paper bag. Well, the brown paper bag is indeed here. We're going to find out very shortly what's in the brown paper bag this week. And a few people even looking forward to 5 days of Christmas before lockdown 3. So, well, most people seem okay though. I think that's we end that. We can share the results so you can see the most people seem okay. So it's good, better than me it seems. I've had a miserable week, but I won't go on about it. I won't go on about it. So just a few. How do I stop that? I'll stop that. Okay. A few things. So yes, we do have the Q&A feature. Hopefully, if I click this button, there we are. There's a Q&A thing down the bottom there. You can ask questions, but we won't answer them. So we will look at it throughout. We'll try and look at your questions as we go through. But what we tend to do is we'll look at them and then we'll answer them the week after. So it means you have to tune in to next week's show to have your questions answered. But any comments and questions, stick them down there. And hopefully, if there's time, we can have a look at those as we go through. Yeah, so last week, as I say, it's a bit of a blockbuster. We had, who was there? Ella was here last week. There was Claire, there was Jess. Another Jess came on and played her flute. And James started his role as the Waxwing Forecaster. Yeah, there's Ella there. She came on and talked about the portrait. It isn't the best picture of Ella. I think I've got a better picture here of her here in a natural habitat there. Ella's the Wildlife Trust Living Seas officer, and she came on and talked about the Portuguese man of war, which washed up on the beach near Brighton, which reminded me of a pasty. And actually, one of our viewers, it inspired them to bake some Portuguese man of war pasties this week. A 2 steak and 2 cheese and onion Portuguese man of war there. Thank you to Tristan for sending that in. And of course, now we ended the show on a cliffhanger last week because Tony had posted a thing on the Facebook page saying that he'd been, well, I'll tell you what we'll do. We've got to try and work some technology here. Now, bear with me, folks, because through the magic of, well, here we go. Look, so if I click on that, I go over here. Now, I'm going to try and bring Tony. I'm going to try and bring Tony to come and talk to us. Now, what I can do with Zoom is I can turn Tony's video on, and he can come and join us on the webinar. Now, I like to stress to everybody, I can't do this to everyone, and I need to. I can't just turn your camera on. Basically, that could be really awkward for a lot of people. I don't want to know what you're doing at home. I don't want to have it broadcast on my webinar either. So I can assure you, I can't just turn your camera on, but I think I can promote Tony to hopefully, if I press this, he may come and join us on the screen. Let's have a look now. This could go wrong, of course. It's the first time I've done this, but have you seen it? Does anyone see Tony yet?
No, Tony.
No, Tony. All right. Okay. Let's try it again. Look. I'll try again. You keep talking about yourself. Talk amongst yourselves there. Over there. That's Tony.
Here he comes.
Wait a minute. I thought I saw him.
He did. He came and disappeared.
Right. Okay. I'll try it once more. A minute. Tony. There he is. I can see him. It's worked. Oh, I'm really pleased about that. Oh, God, quite clear. That's made my week, that has. Tony, you're on mute there, Tony. I'm not sure if you can turn that off. I can turn off. Maybe can I unmute him? I can ask you to unmute.
Has he frozen?
He's frozen. Maybe he's just stunned. Maybe he's been stunned.
He's not blinking.
He's not blinking. Well, this could be it. Oh, it was working so well. I saw him. Wait a minute, he's moving.
Hang on, I think I'm back in business. My computer's playing up.
I'll tell you what, this is amazing. Isn't this technology amazing these days? Look at that. Tony, thank you for joining us. Honestly, I'm really thrilled. I didn't think that was going to work, but I'm getting quite good at this old Zoom malarkey. You know, I'm becoming a bit of a... Anyway, so, Tony, I just thought, can you talk us through what happened last Thursday?
Yeah, so it was last Friday. I live in Roffey in Horsham, which is quite near Owl Beach and Leechpool Woods. So we get plenty of wood pigeons in the garden, and occasionally they fly into the windows. But last Friday, I heard a really loud thud, and went outside to see if I could identify what it was, and opened the front door, and there was this bird laying by the front door that I hoped was still alive, but it was fairly obvious when I picked it up. The poor thing was just sort of limp in my hand, and it wasn't the case. But it's not a bird I've ever seen before, and certainly wouldn't have expected to find it, near our house. Not the sort of bird you'd normally see in the garden. In fact, normally very difficult to see at all. So that's why I posted it on the Facebook page, and that's where we are now, really, I guess.
I guess then some weird guy messaged you to say, "Can I have your dead bird?" And
exactly that, yes.
Some strange guys. So I do have it here now. Do you want to reveal what that bird was, Tony?
So the bird was a woodcock. It's a beautiful looking bird, and I was slightly upset by finding it on the front, because wood pigeons I'm perhaps less so upset to have found.
Yeah, I mean, this is it's an amazing bird. I put it up there. This is the woodcock there. There's Tony's woodcock. Now, as Tony mentioned, unfortunately it died through hitting the window, but it hasn't died in vain. I thought we'd bring him on the show, and hopefully it'll help us to learn a bit more about woodcocks. But incredible things. Now you can see in that picture there, which Tony took, the incredible camouflage. This is it's basically a wader of the woods. Basically, this is a wading bird almost, with a big beak which it uses to probe into the soil. But you'll find them in woodlands across Sussex. Now, where are we going next? Now, Tony, I know you were quite upset about finding a dead woodcock on your patio, but I think do you have a question for Charlotte from WildCall?
Yeah, I'd be interested. I mean, our upstairs windows haven't got any blinds or net curtains, and none of these sort of stickers. But I just wondered, what's the best way to deter birds from flying into windows?
Yeah, sadly, it can be quite a common problem, and it's not really surprising. It's the reflection that causes a problem for birds. And obviously, we're quite good at putting glass all over the place, which is not a natural kind of obstacle at all. So birds, they haven't evolved with these bizarre shiny surfaces and sometimes struggle. So often the problem is that because of the reflection, it sort of looks like they can see trees and things that they could normally fly through. Or sometimes in some rooms, if you've got a window either end, it looks, really like they can fly straight through. And often that's what happens. So it's all about trying to reduce the reflection to stop the problem. And these kind of stickers are usually the way forward. And it's important they go on the outside of the glass, because that's where the reflection is. On the inside, they're probably less effective because they're still going to be kind of obscured by the reflection and the glare. But you can see what the birds are up against when you look at that window. It does seem like you could fly straight through into that landscape. So it's quite understandable that they come a cropper every so often. But the stickers are a really good idea. It doesn't have to be bird silhouettes, although they're quite common. It could be absolutely anything. It could be any shape. actually probably the more colourful the better. They seem to be more effective. There's been some research into what works the best, and plenty of colourful things. And as you can see from this window, plenty of stickers as well. Usually with quite a large expanse of glass like that, you do need plenty of stickers. But there's other things. I mean, you mentioned blinds and net curtains, and things on the inside of the window definitely help as well. So if you do have some sort of blinds inside, that certainly helps the birds. And the other thing that tends to cause an issue after dark is if the lights are on but you've still got your curtains open. So that can cause a lot of problems for nocturnal birds, particularly migrating birds that are often flying at night. So keeping the curtains closed or turn the lights off when you're not around really helps them.
Okay, thank you. Well, I'll give some of that a try. I'm not sure about the stickers. It's my son's bedroom, and he might be slightly aggrieved with me putting stickers all over the window.
All right. Well, thank you, Tony. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for coming on the show. This is great. And what I'm going to do, Tony's one of the volunteers for the Wildlife Trust. Also, he's been out pulling bracken all day. Is that right? You've been.
Well, this afternoon, yes. Yeah.
And I do believe you have an appointment with a pizza very shortly. So
I do indeed, yes.
Okay. Well, thank you for the woodcock, and we're going to learn a bit more about woodcocks now. But I'll let you get back to your pizza. So wait a minute. I've got to look at this bit over here. Press that. Then I go to here, and then I press this. That goes there. I can turn you back. So thanks, Tony. Thanks for coming on.
Yes, thanks very much.
I'll see you in a bit. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. I'm really pleased that worked. I'm quite pleased. I'm going to start doing this a lot more now. I've got to get everyone to come on. 135 people joining me. Okay, so what's next? Okay, let's press. Move my screen. So I thought what we'd do is this poor woodcock here, which passed away, so it didn't die in vain. I thought it would be an inspiration to let us all learn a bit more about woodcocks. Now, Barry, do you have a weird woodcock fact for me?
I do. If you look at the eye, it's set really far back on the head, and it gives it a 360-degree view all the way around. And I learnt this from the AA Book of British Birds that my parents brought me when I was about 6 or 7. And fabulous illustrations in there. But I remember the little diagram that showed the all-round vision of woodcocks. So it's when they've got their beaks in the ground looking for earthworms, they can watch out for any danger approaching from above.
Okay, so that's a good weird woodcock fact. My weird woodcock fact is they're migratory birds. A lot of the birds we see here in the autumn and winter have migrated from northern Europe, and I think it's fair enough to think a bird this sort of size could actually migrate across the North Sea. But a lot of people didn't believe these little birds, goldcrests, couldn't migrate on their own. They're too small, tiny little things. They thought they couldn't make it across the sea. So there was a story for years that the goldcrests actually hitched a ride on the back of woodcocks, and an old name for a goldcrest is the woodcock pilot. People would see woodcocks turning up in the winter along with goldcrests and believe they arrived at the same time. In fact, they actually thought the little goldcrest, there he is, was sat on the back of the woodcock there. So there's the didn't happen. It's not true. So don't believe a word of it. But there's another weird woodcock fact. Now, James, have you got a weird woodcock fact for me?
Yeah, well, I suppose my fact sort of relates to their aerial display. So, you know, obviously it's very difficult to see a woodcock, isn't it? As you were saying, they're really well camouflaged. You know, they live in the forest generally. So the time when you might see them is during spring, and it's when they're undertaking this aerial display, which is called roading. And during this roading, the males, they kind of patrol around their breeding habitat, and you know, they fly very deliberately, sort of flicking the wings, and you know, sometimes they'll kind of overlap territories with other males, and there might be sort of chases between the two males. But this display flight, really, you know, this is the key time to actually see a woodcock, because otherwise you basically have to either step in one in a woodland or step on one in a woodland, or one has to fly into your window. Essentially, they're the only two ways of seeing them. So so this display flight is definitely the best time to do it. So yeah, that's my fact.
Thank you, James. And weird woodcock fact number 4 is from Charlotte. Now, what's your weird woodcock fact, Charlotte?
This is one of my favourite things ever, and I'm really hoping this video does work.
Yes, so am I.
Because woodcock have a weird habit of doing something that basically looks like they're dancing.
All right, now I'm going to try and press play. Now, This may not work at home, folks, but let's. I'm doing okay so far. I put some from the audience up into the panel. So let's have a look. Now, if I click down here, is he moving? Oh, he's moving.
Okay.
Superb.
So this is quite bizarre. And apparently, the reason they move about like this, so this woodcock is sort of looking for food, essentially, foraging about there, looking for worms. And apparently this helps. It's supposed to lure the worms somehow. I mean, you see seagulls stamping on the grass to bring worms to the surface because they're sort of mimicking the sound of rain, potentially. And maybe this is something along similar lines. I just think it's brilliant.
I've seen you use some of those moves on the dance floor, Barry. Is that
Yeah.
fair to say?
Me and the jackknife and the snipe all move like that.
Charlie, you sent me this clip as well. I'm not too sure. I think this isn't filmed in Britain. I think it's maybe a different sort of woodcock. But
It's an American woodcock, yeah.
Look at that guy go, look.
Some rhythm.
The little baby's doing it too.
The chicks are doing it as well. It's amazing. Look at that. Yeah. That's that woodcock's got it going on, hasn't it? I tell you, it's yeah.
So if that doesn't cheer you up, Michael, I don't know what will.
It's making my week. I tell you. Firstly, I've become a Zoom master, and now I'm watching a woodcock dancing to Billie Jean by Michael Jackson. So I can't ask for more. So thank you for those woodcock facts, folks. Now I've got loads of new sections for the show. Those are new segments. This one I'm going to call shaky videos of birds you don't usually get very close to. And last week, James took a shaky video of a kingfisher, which he was very proud of.
Yes, I
a
did.
bird you certainly never get close to. There's James's shaky video of a bird you normally get close to. And I thought
It's very windy, though, Michael. It's very windy. You know,
it's windy, it's fair enough. But I was out on the downs on Sunday, went up to the Burr and looking for hen harriers, saw nothing. But I did get very close to another bird you don't usually get close to. And I made this very shaky video of a corn bunting. So check this one out. Look.
Song as well.
Yeah, impressed with that? I thought you'd be impressed with that, James. Look.
I'm impressed with your usual standard, Michael. I'm very impressed with that, actually.
Okay, I'm not too sure how to take that, but that's the isn't the best looking bird. Looks like a little hand grenade, but has that very iconic squeaky sort of rattling call. I mean, I've always read it as being like, it sounds like jangling keys. I don't know. Can you describe it better? Anybody?
No, that's pretty good. Jangling keys. That works for me.
What about like putting glass in a pestle and mortar? That could kind of could be it. I don't know, but certainly this corn bunting was he was singing his like that out there. So I was quite pleased with my shaky video. So if any of you folks out there do have shaky videos of birds you don't normally get close to, then send them in and we'll stick them on. So all this chat about bird song means we go on to my favourite part of the show, of course, which is the mystery bird sound played badly on a variety of musical instruments. Now, I remember a few weeks ago, I played a woodlark and a hoopoo on my recorder, and I said, unless you send in your own versions of bird song on various musical instruments, I'll keep playing my recorder. And there was a rush of people to try and stop me playing my recorder the following week. We had Jess last week. Thank you, Jess, for sending in a waxwing being played on a flute. So this week we have young Reuben. Reuben has sent in his video, and so hopefully it's time for us all, and you at home, of course, you can play at home to work out what Reuben is playing on the clarinet. So I shall go over to Reuben. Here we go.
My name is Reuben, and this is this week's mystery bird.
Okay, thank you, Reuben. Okay, well, I'll put the poll up. Let's see. Hope you're thinking, Barry. Hope you got your thinking cap on. All right, there's the poll. All right, let's go down here, and you at home can vote on what was Reuben's mystery bird of the week. Well, we've got people are voting. There's almost 100 votes coming in here. On a Friday. So we have now. I think I can share the results. Put them up there. So we have. Most of the people think that was a cuckoo. There's some people thought it was a woodcock. There's a chaffinch and a few chiff-chaffs. Well, yeah, chiff-chaff. Barry, what do you think?
Well, I think it sounded very. I thought it sounded like a cuckoo.
Charlotte?
I did think cuckoo at first, but
Right.
because of the repetitive nature and they're quite close together, I'm going to say chiff-chaff.
Okay. And James?
Yeah, I think well, obviously it's between those two. As tempted as I am to say bearded vulture, I agree with Charlotte, actually. I think because it's very close together and it's quite, sort of rapidly uttered, I'm going to go with chiff-chaff.
You go with chiff-chaff. Well, let's go over and see what the... let's close this poll a second. Let's see what Reuben's mystery bird was.
Cuckoo.
Oh, he was... well, I think all you at home, 86% of you was at home, are right. And Barry, of course, as well. But Charlotte and James, you chose badly this week, I'm afraid.
It did sound like a cuckoo, so,
Well, it's on a clarinet. So thank you, Reuben. Thank you for sending that in. And again, if you do want to stop me playing my recorder next week, please feel free to send in your mystery bird sounds played badly on a variety of instruments. So we'll tune in for those next week. Now, also on the Facebook page, we try and identify people's sightings. A sighting here from Sophie Elizabeth sent in this picture. Is there any idea what this type of tiny fungus is? Is it a mould? It's right up on the downs above Storrington. Now, I think we saw this a few weeks ago. Ryan agreed, said so pleased you shared this. He found something similar at Nep yesterday. I was wondering if someone had just spilled some couscous on the floor. But now I'm pretty sure this is the dog's vomit slime mold. Now we do have our resident fungi expert. If I just Claire, where is she? Claire, there she is. Claire, your opinion, please. Is it internet sensation Claire Blencowe here? Now, is this dog's vomit slime mold?
Yes, I think it is. And slime molds aren't funky, don't you?
I knew that, yeah.
Yeah, it's a confusing name because there's actually two different species that get called dog's vomit slime mold. There's another one that's bright yellow that some people call dog's vomit slime mold. But this one is Mucilago crustacea. And it's quite common on grasses. So yeah, look out for it. It's a weird one.
It's a lovely name. So thank you. You can sit back down now. Thank you.
Okay,
back in the audience. Thank you very much. She's on the Zoom this week. She had like 400 people watching one of her webinars. It's all gone to her head. It's all gone to her. She thinks she's some internet sensation or something. All right. Thank you for that. So I thought, so thank you for that, Claire. Dog's vomit slime mode. It's inspired me perhaps for a future section of the show. We could do dog's vomit slime mold or actual dog's vomit. We could perhaps do that. So if you're out and about in the woods around Sussex, you do see anything which could be just a dog has thrown up on the floor, or it could be some dog's vomit slime mold, send it in and we can try and work out if it's dog's vomit slime mold or actual dog's vomit. Okay, Barry, it's time to go over to you for your weekly roundup from Rye. So there's been a few highlights. There's been a highlight this week, I think.
Yeah, the birds have been pretty good this week, and the star bird all week has been this small brown bird with bright yellow and black head called a shore lark. And one of our volunteers, James Tomlinson, spent 10.5 hours to get this photo. We've got lots of skylarks that are wintering with us, and they're feeding on the seeds of the salt marsh plants. And in amongst the flock, occasionally you can see this lovely rare bird, the shore lark. It's also called the horned lark, and if you screw your eyes up, you can just imagine the black horns are going to appear in its breeding plumage out the top of its head, very devil-like. But it's a Scandinavian bird, and there's a few that winter in Britain along the east coast and just around into the English Channel. So we only get them perhaps once every 5 or 6 years, and they're a really smart bird, but very, very frustrating for bird watchers. We've had lots of disappointed bird watchers.
And have you seen it yourself, Barry? You said, do you see it?
I haven't seen it, no. I've been too busy working on interpretation all week.
Oh, fair enough. Well, Maybe next week. Now, also
tomorrow.
You've got a nice full weekend of shore lark searching.
Yeah.
And also, James, you've been over at Rye as well. You saw these?
No, it wasn't Rye actually. It was kind of in central Sussex. It wasn't actually on a reserve. It was just on a sort of, a gravel pit basically on a large lake, a sort of an unnamed one. But yeah, a really smart duck actually. So I mean, it's it's not a duck that you'll see down here in the breeding season. So this is a bird basically that's, it's breeding up in Scotland and northern England and in Wales. But in winter there's about sort of 5 or 6 times as many Goosanders in in the UK as there are in the breeding season. So it's a really smart looking bird. It's a really hardy bird as well. A really good good diver, a superb fisher. And actually one of the reasons why I wanted to put in this sort of close up was, I don't know if everybody can see, but you can maybe just about see the serrations in the bill. So this actually it's one of the sawbill ducks, and the sawbills obviously are so named because of those serrations. And the serrations are, they're really useful for kind of gripping onto slippery fish. Now, I did hear actually that the Goosander's got a real fondness for salmon and trout. So you can imagine how they're viewed in the angling community, which is very unfortunate for them. But yeah, beautiful bird. So this one's a juvenile. Actually, can you go back to the previous picture, Michael?
Yeah.
That's all right. So actually, you can just about see that it's got quite a pale stripe between the eye and the bill. And these are called the lores. So not the lores as in like, this is the law. These are the lores as in L-O-R-E-S. So this one's got quite a pale lore, quite a sort of pale red bill, a very pale iris and quite a loose crest. So, the juveniles, they actually look really similar to the females. So in essence, this is basically what a female goosander is going to look like. But this one is a juvenile. So, very smart bird it is too. And apparently sometimes they do fish cooperatively. So you might find like a number of goosanders fishing together to sort of help, corral and sort of, drive fish kind of towards each other. But sometimes when they are fishing, they might not actually fully submerge. They'll just sort of dip their heads beneath the surface to see what they can see. So yeah, great. It's a great duck to see, and yeah, keep your eyes out really. Any reservoir, any gravel pit, any freshwater lake, you stand a pretty good chance of seeing one. So.
Okay, well, thank you. I've been checking out the comments while we've been going along, and I've been asked to turn my colour on, but I'm quite bright. I've got my bright Superman T-shirt here tonight. I look a bit too bright. Anyway, Richard Bushell said that regarding woodcock, his father used to say that they came over from the continent with the November moon. So I know the full moon in November was when people thought the woodcocks were migrating, and they probably were. But so there's a nice comment here, Barry, from Colin. He says that Barry cycled past the shore lark on his bicycle last Saturday while I was looking at it. Were you out on your bike riding around last Saturday?
I always am out on my bike, but I didn't want to disturb it for him. I thought if I stopped and looked, it might scare it away. So no, I was too busy trying to
very courteous
get somewhere.
You're a gentleman, Barry. You know that? You're a real gentleman. You really are. Doesn't want to disturb another man's shore lark. That's fantastic. Right. Let's move on. So, this bit. Look at this. We got some letters from some fans this week. I was quite pleased with this. We got some well, actually, to be more precise, we had a letter from a fan this week. But I was quite thrilled to receive this. It says to Michael. It says, "Thank you for recording the butterfly identification videos." That's okay. It's a pleasure. I really like them, and I learned a lot. I have been going out and watching wildlife. And I enjoy watching Nature Table live from Isla. So we've got our first fan. Now, you may recall Isla actually was the young lady who named the Harry the Hawfinch in episode 1. So what I'm going to try and do is, let me see if I'm going to try and see if we can bring Isla back on. And let's see if we can get her on the show. Now, she's 8 years old. And I'm going to see if we can get her on to name the woodcock. We can make Isla the official Nature Table Live bird namer. It's working. It's working. Are you? Can you unmute yourself, Jenny? Is that or do I have to do that? Oh, there you are. Hello, hello, Jenny, and hello, Isla. Thank you for coming on. Give us a wave. Hit me right. So thank you first off. Thank you for the lovely letter. That was very kind of you. And it was the highlight. I've had a terrible week, Isla. I won't go on about it, but I've had a terrible week. But that was the highlight of my week, getting your letter. So thank you for that. Now, and also thank you for naming Harry the Hawfinch in episode 1. But we've got a frozen bird from my freezer. Now, we've got a woodcock here, who you may have seen at the start of the show, which Tony very kindly gave to me, but hasn't got a name. So now the thing is, we need to work out if it's a male or a female woodcock. Now, Barry, do you know how to tell them apart? Is there?
Yeah, the females average very slightly larger. And one of the measurements is the bill length.
Right, I've got a ruler here. I mean,
go from the tip of the bill to the start of the feathers.
Yeah.
If it's less than 74.
Less than all right. Sorry about this. Sorry, folks. This is by the highlight of your Friday night, watching a man measuring a woodcock's beak. But here we are. So I reckon that beak is. Well, I reckon it's about. Oh, yeah.
The very start of the feathers.
It's about 75, I think.
Oh, that's in the zone where you can't be certain what they are. That's so.
Well, I reckon it looks like. I reckon it's a fella. So
yeah.
I reckon it's a boy woodcock, Isla. So do you have a name for him?
William.
William. That's a nice name for a woodcock. Yeah. Okay. So there's William the woodcock. So we'll leave him down there. Thank you. Thank you, Isla. Now, Isla's also been out with her camera this week because I saw she posted some photographs on the Nature Table Facebook page. So there we are, taking it in Eastbourne. So where do you live, Isla? Do you live out towards Eastbourne?
I live in Hailsham.
Live out in Hailsham, lovely. All right, so went down to the sea for the day. Now, do you know what this bird is?
I think it might be a cormorant.
Well, I have to ask Dr. Barry Yates this one. Barry, is Isla right?
Yeah, that's a very typical pose of a cormorant. When it's caught a fish, it will go and sit somewhere and hold its wings out.
Lovely, that's a nice picture. Nice action photo, Isla. I like that one. Now, there's just a little bird here. Now, do you know what this bird is, Isla?
I think it's a pied wagtail.
James, you think you always say you know all about birds. You think you're Mr. Birdwatcher. Is Isla right?
Oh, I think she's absolutely right. Yeah, so her photos are better than yours as well, Michael.
All right, okay. There's no need for that, is there? No need for that, James. It's trying to keep things friendly here. Yeah, lovely photo. So, do you have a favourite bird, Isla?
I like robins the most.
Yeah, they're nice birds. But now Isla was out at Eastbourne and she saw a cormorant, she saw a pied wagtail, but then she saw something quite amazing sat on the beach. Look at this, look, incredible. Now Isla took a picture of a seal. Now, have you seen seals before, Isla?
That was my first seal that I saw.
The first one, brilliant. Now I don't see many seals. That's a really good sighting because we don't see many seals. Another of Isla's photos there. I don't see many seals in Sussex, so that's fantastic. Now, do you know anything about seals, Isla?
I don't know much about them, but we think it might be a harbour seal.
A harbour seal, okay. Now, what we do? We've got another guest coming on. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say thank you, and thank you again for the lovely letter, and thank you again from William the Woodcock. I'm going to put you back in the attendees. I'm going to bring out. We have an expert on seals called John, and he's going to tell us all about seals. If you watch this, Isla, hopefully we can learn a bit more about the seal you saw and how rare it is. So thank you for coming on. Thank you for coming on. I'm going to give us a wave. I'm enjoying this. Look, I'll go over here. 1 second. I'm in the wrong place. I'm getting a bit cocky. So thank you, Isla. Thank you, Jenny. I'll put you down over there, and I'm going to go over here. This is watching somebody struggle with technology there. And right, I'll go to John and look at this. Look, I'm getting good at this. Look, oh my God, look, this is working. Hello, John, can you hear us? You're on mute there, John. If you could, you turn yourself off. No, I can ask you to unmute. Let's have a look.
Mute.
There we are. Look.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I know James is impressed. You're impressed with me, James, and my Zoom skills. I can tell you're impressed. Thank you for coming along, John. We just had Isla and her mum there. Now Isla saw this seal over near Eastbourne, and she thinks it's a harbour seal. Is she right?
Yeah, she's absolutely spot on. It's a really good photo too. and it's actually bananaing. Just, I don't know whether the camera is on. I don't know whether you can see that.
John, he's got props. He's got a banana. Brilliant. Yeah, we can see your banana, John.
So yeah, it's called a banana posture. So as the tide comes in, there's not so much fat around the head and the tail end. So they just raise the tail up and if necessary, the head, just to keep themselves dry for as long as possible.
Brilliant. So great picture, Isla, of your bananaing harbour seal. So is the harbour seal the same as a common seal?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Okay. So now, John, you've been doing some surveys over in Chichester Harbour, and we've seen before talking about seals. So thanks for coming on. Now, I've got a few questions, so we can all learn about seals tonight. Now, what species of seals do we have in Sussex?
Well, we've got two species. So the harbour or common seal, and also grey seal. So both of those they are the two native species of the United Kingdom. We occasionally get some Arctic seals that might just wander south to maybe Scotland, sometimes even in the Channel. But it's just really just those two species we have in this country as native species.
So this is one of your photos, John. Look at that. That's a great picture.
So it's during one of the surveys we did this summer. That was actually in September, and when they haul out in Chichester Harbour, they're literally completely dead to the world a lot of the time. They just resting there, they're sleeping, but they're also very importantly digesting food. So I just happened to catch this one. We do keep sort of photo ID photographs going, and just happened to catch this one. It was peeing on the mud.
Okay, that's nice.
Which is the giveaway that it's a male. So females will pee a bit further back between the hind flippers.
Okay, all right.
That's the male there.
Yeah, we've just been trying to tell a male and female woodcock apart. I wish it was that easy. But okay, we've got some. Well, I'll just click your slides along here. Now, you give us some information about how you tell these common seals or harbour seals and grey seals. How you tell them apart?
Well, yeah, you ignore the colour thing. So grey seals can come in all sorts of different shades of grey and black and white. Sometimes they're stained red with iron from the mud, and that can happen to harbour seals as well. So if you look at the books, they always say look at the nostrils, but you've got to have a pretty good view to see the nostrils. But on the left there, you can see the common seal, they're V-shaped. And on the grey seal, they're more parallel. In fact, sometimes described as the two outer arms of a W. But there are better ways of telling them apart. I think you've got another slide there.
Yeah, I always thought, look at these slides here, I always thought that common seals look a bit like cats and grey seals look like dogs. Yeah,
absolutely. That's exactly how I remember them as well. And in fact, in Canada, they call the grey seal the horsehead because it's just got a very flat top to the head, going from the peak of the crown down to the nostril.
In this picture here, the grey seal looks a bit like the lead singer of Radiohead. I don't know if you can see that. I don't know if you,
yeah.
Maybe it's,
when I look at the photos of the seals I've taken, so often the eye that's on the sunlit side is screwed up and they're kind of squinting.
Right, okay.
If you look at that.
So here's some more photos. So what are these showing us?
So again, when you see these seals, they're so often in the water, so you've only got the head to look at. And exactly as you said, the common seal has got more of a dish-shaped forehead with a short snout. It's kind of cutesy looking animal. And just as you said, it reminds me more of a cat or maybe a puppy, whereas grey seal has got this much longer head. The eye is more in the middle between the back of the head and the front of the head, compared with the common seal where the eye is a bit nearer the nose. And it's just very flat on the top. And in fact, the bull grey seals, it's actually convex. So it's actually like a Roman nose. And the bottom two pictures just show you if they're looking straight at you, if you're not quite close enough to see the nostrils, the grey seal head is squashed more from the side and the common seal more from the top and the bottom.
Okay.
So,
all right. So, all right.
yeah, some few clues there.
Thank you. Now, I was going to ask a bit about the sort of the seal year. I mean, what's the sort of what do they get up to down there in Chichester?
Well, our main interest in Chichester Harbour started with the common seals because they are known to be the only colony of common seals in the Eastern Channel, probably in the whole channel, that's a resident population, and they're breeding as well. So that's where our main interest is. And at this time of year, they're out and about trying to survive the winter. Winter storms can be a bit of a problem for maybe the younger seals which were born this year. So really, they'll come into the harbour and they'll lay out on the mud to digest food, as I said before, and just to rest. But things start to kick off in July or late June, and they start to coordinate at the haul-outs a little more closely. And there's one in particular in Chichester Harbour. It's called a rookery, really, because that's where they have their pups. And they produce those pups, as you can see in this picture, in July. Although this year we had the first records right on the tail end. So 30th of June, we had 4 pups appear. And then these animals are unique, really. They can actually swim from birth. And then as we get more into August and September, the adults start to molt their fur coat. They tend to stay on the mud a bit longer for that. And then by the time we get through to October, they're just off and out and about for the winter. So yeah, here's a seal that's molting. Look, they always look pretty miserable. I don't know whether it's itchy or uncomfortable feeling, but it's really good, this one, because you can see the new shinier coat with spots on coming through underneath the sort of reddish stained, mud stained top coat. That's all going off in bits now.
Wow, amazing. Now just go back a minute. So the seal that Isla saw in over in Eastbourne is probably a seal from Chichester Harbour then.
Yeah, I mean, if you go east, the next sort of resident population is near Ramsgate at the mouth of the River Stour. So it could have been from either end, to be honest.
And Charlotte, just while you're there, we have quite a few records of seals being seen quite far inland, up the rivers of the county, because I know there's been one up near Henfield recently.
Yeah, there has. It's become a bit of a local celebrity because it was kind of hauling out in the exact same kind of area of riverbank each time, so people could quite reliably spot it. But yeah, it does seem that they swim up with the tide. They swim upriver, probably often in search of fish, following the food, or sometimes maybe just because they kind of feel like it. But yeah, they kind of haul out on a nice quiet spot, and it's quite peaceful for them.
Because I've seen up right, by the bridge in Lewes, Lewes High Street. You see the seals swimming around. So,
yeah.
So what are they swimming? What are they swimming in? Are they chasing fish in of the river, John?
Yeah, they're just exploring. River is quite constricted environment for them. So if they come across any fish, they're presumably easier to catch. In that there's less room for the fish to escape. But yeah, the common seals, they're called, although we actually have far more grey seals than common seals in the United Kingdom, but they're called common seals because they're really widespread all around the northern hemisphere in Arctic and subarctic areas. And over in Canada, there's a population, a subspecies of common seal, which actually lives in freshwater lakes.
Oh, interesting. Now,
They've just got trapped.
I was going to ask you about this because I mean, how many seals do we have? I used to send a graph in for me to look at because
yeah,
how many seals do we actually have in Sussex?
Well, when we do our counts, this is the kind of thing we're looking at. So we do these monthly counts and we record the age groups as much as we can, and you can see there that the common seal is much commoner in Chichester Harbour. But what's interesting is just a few years ago, it was known that there were maybe 1 or 2 grey seals in Chichester Harbour, and in recent years, the numbers have really increased. And although we've still got tiny numbers there compared with the east coast of England, for example, if you go to Blakeney Point, where they've got around about 1,000 adults at any one time. And this
Wow.
year, they're predicted to have about 4,000 pups up there. So I think possibly we're getting a few grey seals from the east coast of England.
And there's a graph here about the how many pups they have. So it's
Yeah,
about...
and these are the common seals, and again, because their breeding population is small, but it seems to be fairly stable or increasing fairly modestly at about 2 animals per year over our survey period. And so that's the number of pups that we're actually getting. So it's actually an average over the 5 years of 7.6 pups, but they're doing all right. Grey seals don't breed around here in Chichester Harbour or along the Sussex coast. There's nowhere really safe. The difference is that common seals can swim from birth as pups, whereas grey seals as pups, if you will, anybody who's watching Autumn Watch, they don't really swim for the first 2-3 weeks or so. The problem in Chichester Harbour in particular is there's nowhere to leave a pup above the tide line for a period of time like that, that's where it's actually not going to be disturbed by people walking or dogs or whatever.
We had a question here. Actually, it's more of a remember Colin, Barry? That's a guy who he used Cycle Pass when he was watching the Shore Lark. Colin said he saw a seal at Rye last weekend swimming up the river towards the lifeboat station. So do you see seals over at Rye, Barry, quite often?
We do. In the last half a dozen years, common seals have become more common in the river. And James has just sent me a text. James Tomlinson has just sent me a text to remind me that our population is about 11 animals at the moment in the estuary. So they're on the increase here as well.
Well, that's great news. Okay, well, thank you for coming on, John. That's really interesting.
No, that's all right. You're welcome.
Thank you. And I just admiring your seal collection behind you. Fantastic at that. Very well arranged there.
Well,
thank you for those.
They're my little teaching aids.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for coming on, John. It's really useful, and hopefully we'll see you out in Chichester Harbour. I'll get my wetsuit on. I'll be. You probably mistake me for a grey seal, probably, if I'm.
When we don't have pandemics and so on, we do the Harbour Conservancy run seal watching trips out there, so it's all done very sustainably.
Fantastic. Well, hopefully we'll all be joining you next year then. So that's great. Now I'm gonna put you back in the crowd, John. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
And
bye.
Thanks very much. So do this. There we go. Look. Honestly, I'm so pleased with myself. I really am. I feel so smug. You can probably tell it's in my eyes. So a few more photos here. We're going to end this episode now. Just got a few more photos from the Nature Table Facebook page. Lovely photo here, taken by Michael Howard of one of my favourite birds, the nuthatch, this week. But also Michael caught another bird in his garden and his camera, a redwing. Now it was the first redwing of the season, Michael said. So I just put this up here because it did lead nicely into the fact that James is going to be doing an online talk next Wednesday. James, you tell us a little bit more about it?
Next Wednesday, yeah. So I mean, essentially, it's just going to be a talk covering some of our winter thrush species with a few identification sort of tips and aids in there, and yeah, just a bit of general information about their ecology and why this is such an important time of the year for them. So yeah, come and join me, and hopefully there'll be some interesting points in there.
Yeah, thank you. You can go to the website. Actually, hopefully we'll tell you how you can register for James's Thrushes talk next week. So it's almost the end of the show. I need to get back to James for this week's Waxwing Forecast. It's been a miserable week, James. I keep going on about it, but the only thing, apart from Isla's lovely letter and the dancing woodcock, the only thing that really raised my spirits this weekend is going to be a flood of waxwings rushing in from the north. But what's your prediction this week for a waxwing invasion?
Well, that's probably a bit of a shame then, Michael, because I think there probably isn't going to be a rush of waxwings in the south at the moment. I think I have heard reports that one was sighted in Norfolk. So, we're getting closer. Yeah, getting closer. Otherwise, I think there's been a few in Northumberland, but most of the birds are still up in Scotland. So at the moment...
So we're still on moderate this Keeping the threats on moderate still.
I
Yeah,
think we're
so
still on
it's,
moderate. Yeah, I think if we get a bit of movement down from Norfolk, maybe we can sort of get closer to the you know, to the London area. Then
Okay, well, you know,
maybe we can raise it to substantial. You know,
yeah, it's only just almost December. There's everything to play for. It could all happen over Christmas. So
for sure.
keep our fingers crossed.
For sure.
And speaking of Waxwings, it's our monthly back garden bird race on Sunday, where we ask people to go out and join us, virtually join us by standing and recording birds in their back garden. So so I know a lot of people watching have been taking part in the bird race. There's full details of how to take part in this incredible event. You can be joining us this week, Barry. Oh, you're on mute. I caught him out.
Oh, I'll see what the weather does.
Oh yeah. You'd be out. You make it Shore Lark on your list. That'd be good. Yeah, so I've been prepared. I went to the shop today. I spent an absolute fortune on birdseed. I spent more on birdseed. I spent on myself, food-wise, I think, but not really. But yeah, so hopefully we'll have a nice day on Sunday. If you want to join in, it's always great to have new people join on the bird race. And next week, episode 5. Now we're going to be back on Thursday next week. We're going to try and do these things on Thursdays. Only this week we had a few problems. Had to go to a Friday. We are going to try and keep it on a Thursday. So next week, if you want to go and register and join us again, we'll be back next Thursday. And I really want to talk about tuna next week. I want to talk about fish, big fish next week. So let's see who we can get on. And special guests on next week as well. So thank you for listening. Thank you for listening this week. How are we doing for time? We did all right. We did okay. It wasn't. It didn't get past the hour this week. We did all right. So thank you for listening, and thank you to Barry and to Charlotte and to James and to Tony and to Jenny and Isla and to John and of course William, the frozen woodcock. Sorry. Oh, and Reuben, of course. Thank you to Reuben for his clarinet skills. So hopefully we'll see you next week. If you've enjoyed this evening, please consider making a donation to the Wildlife Trust to support the work that we're doing. And thank you for those people who donated in the previous weeks. It's always nice to get a donation. It's very kind of you. Keeps me donate this week and try and raise my spirits on a Friday evening. Or of course, join the Wildlife Trust. We'd appreciate having you on board. If I've shown you my incredible technology Zoom skills. Now, hopefully when I press stop in a minute, you'll all be magically whisked away to the Wildlife Trust page where you can make a donation. Also, there'll be some links there to the bird race, some links there to James's Thrushes talk. So you can register for those. And I think that's it. So hope you folks have a great weekend, and we'll see you next Thursday. So take care, and until then, stay safe. So we'll see you in a bit. Bye.